Hello, everybody. I'm Murray Pollok from International Rental News Magazine, and today I'm talking to Matt Gaffin. Matt's the head of AI at Point of Rental Systems. Matt has 25 years experience in rental software, over 12 with Point of Rental. Matt, thanks for sparing the time. This is the day before Thanksgiving, so I appreciate your time today.
Oh, glad to be here, Murray. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. So let's get stuck into it. We want to talk about AI and how it can be applied in rental. There's so many opportunities for rental companies. What would your advice be? How should they approach it?
So, are we talking about how should they approach it for the first time? Sorry, I'm messing with my.
Yeah, I suppose there are going to be bigger companies who are already thinking about it and using it. But let's picture a company that is maybe worried about losing, about not exploiting it sufficiently quickly, if you like.
Yeah. So, one of the things that I've been talking to people about, and most people that I talk to, even vendors that are contacting me about trying to sell tools, I'm finding that most people are at the beginning, if they've even started. A lot of people are stuck in a stage of paralysis. What is the first step? How do we do it safely? I think the way I'd like to reframe it is that don't think about what other people are doing. Don't worry about what the media is saying. It's like with anything in life. Put one foot in front of the other. Try something small, because the way that my personal story was, I tried something and it surprised me. So then I tried something else and that too surprised me. And I think a lot of people are failing to just try a little thing and see where that goes from there, right? People often ask, is AI going to replace people? I'm like, no, AI is not going to. I mean, there are probably some circumstances where that may be true in small pockets, but I think people that use AI will replace people that don't. But there's very few people out there that I would consider, at any kind of advanced stage. Almost everybody is on an even playing field. So just do something. And I've got plenty of examples that I share with people, like, here's some things you could try.
So looking at it through the prism of rental software and the products that your company offers, what are you offering on the AI side now?
So there are the things we are talking about, building and planning to offer, and then our first steps, right? So one of the big first steps that we've taken was to increase our velocity internally, right? While that's not an AI feature, I would argue that most of our customers would be way happier to know that they're going to get the things they've been wanting faster, rather than that new AI thing that maybe they haven't even thought about the impact. So that to me is the biggest thing, really. But if you want something tangible,
Yes.
there's two things that come to mind that I think are big deals. So a lot of customers, we've talked for years about how there's garbage in, garbage out with regards to how you describe your inventory, right? A lot of people have some kind of e-commerce solution, online storefront where they present all their products, and very few people start a rental company thinking, I am going to build amazing descriptions for my website and really detail out the specifications and put it all in so that it looks great on the web. Now, sometimes they hire someone to do that, but now with AI, we've made it easy to just, you go in there, if you get your model and your make, that's all we need. We can shoot that out and AI can grab the specs. It can write up a custom description that is really well done for AI, and even for generative AI, right? A lot of people don't even use Google and your e-commerce site the way they used to. In fact, AI crawls your site and builds its own opinions of things. And so you're really almost feeding AI at this point. So we call that our supercharger, and that is across all of our products. And you basically just go in and you click a supercharge this item button, and it pulls back specs and manuals and pictures and descriptions and lets you kind of pick and choose which ones you want to keep. So
in your experience, you'll have seen customers looking at AI. Which of the what you've just described accepted, what are the other kind of easy wins or places that they should look for quickly in terms of applications?
Yeah. So I'll get back to that one in a second because there's a piggyback, the next steps, what we're going to do with that. But one of the other things I think is really nice, and it kind of signals another direction where I think AI will really help us, is we have an AI, we call it our OCR scanner. It's really, if you're out in the yard and you see a piece of equipment, right? Your first thought might be, oh, that's the red one. It probably has a serial number or a barcode, or, as most companies know, that stuff gets scratched off. And a lot of people have kind of sorted that on their own. One of the ways we've seen people sort it is they just put huge stickers on these things that have numbers or other things that are not like a barcode, not a QR code, so not something that traditional computers would have been able to scan or know about. So this just takes a picture of it, any identifiable piece of text or wording or numbers, and scans it and looks it up in our inventory, because now we can do that with AI. And that's a really neat way. So it's just kind of being able to kind of take a picture of that item that's sitting there, that red one, and you pull it up. And once you do that, you realize, oh man, we can really shortcut a lot of other things. Like if I'm doing an inspection, you're no longer spending time figuring out what machine that is. Maybe you are taking a picture of the number to figure out which machine it is, and then you're taking a picture of the damage, and then AI describes it, right? We haven't done that second part yet, but those are the next steps.
You've got quite a lot of solutions. You've got your Syrinx 365 Essential, e-commerce, Record 360, which is about damage recognition. Are you applying AI across all of those? Agents for AI across all of those packages? Is that the way to look at it in terms of implementation for you?
Yeah, I think the way we've approached it internally is that we want to build a platform that can be used, by our software internally, bits and pieces of it. Hey, we have 3 pieces of software that really could use that AI scanning technology. So here's a microservice, an internal application that they can all reach out to and use. So we build it once and it's usable for all those things. It may be even something that one of our customers says, hey, we'd really love to use that too. And so in the future, we will explore opening some of those things up for individual use by our customers. So
I suppose AI agents can accelerate your own development. Your own software engineers are using it. Is it helping you reduce the time it takes to bring products to market?
Absolutely. I would say, and maybe more important than reducing the time it takes, if you use it right and you really think about it well, it can also increase the quality. So if you're at all familiar with how software development works, well, it's pretty much like any manufacturing anything, right? You manufacture something and then there is a quality assurance process. That quality assurance piece, you may have varying levels of people who do that with varying levels. They might come from different places in life. They may really care. They may not care. It might just be a job to them. And so that is typically, I think, one of the things that tends to suffer without amazing process. But with AI, we spin up agents. And so let's say, you're tasked with, reviewing a blog post, right? You might think about it from many different perspectives. And you might say, hey, I want to make sure that, this is an inclusive blog post. You might say, I want to make sure that this is not offensive, that it's not, accidentally political in any way that I didn't intend. You might want to review it from the perspective of make sure it doesn't sound bad, check my grammar, my spelling. There's so many different thoughts that you might have. And so what's cool about that is you create an agent, which is just a prompt. I mean, most people don't realize agents are essentially just prompts packaged up. You create one of those for each of those, and you spin them all up at the same time and have them all do the same review. And within 30 seconds, you've had 15 agents do this incredibly thorough review that you would never have done otherwise. And so that's how we're applying that to coding.
So you're doing that on the software that you write.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And it sometimes produces more efficient routines than you would have created yourselves.
Absolutely. I mean, it's assisting us as we write code and do different things, but it's also reviewing for us. And so we expect the proof of this will be in our quality should be on the uptick from it.
Matt, I suppose this is maybe a bit left field, but AI is developing so quickly. At what point does it become a bit worrying for software companies and specialists like you, where the independent private companies maybe feel that they can create software or applications using AI without the need for specialist companies? Is that something that you're thinking about?
Oh, absolutely. And I think, again, there's a time now where we have an opportunity to adapt and learn these new tools. When the internet came out, when websites went from being websites to web applications, right? Oh, you can actually click buttons that update data, and we had to adapt to that. And I think this is no different of that kind of, it's just that kind of adaptation again, right? The one thing I would point out though is that, and this is what I've talked about with other people in the development world, how big is your backlog? How many things would you love for your software to do? I'm guessing we'd be here for a month and still not be done, right? It's an infinite list. Internally, we see our own list and it's unfathomably long. That's why we have a product department whose sole job is to try to whittle that down and say no to 95% of the ideas that we have. If this helps us go faster and do more, then we will just do more. And that's nearly endless. So as far as smaller people doing things, I absolutely think they should be doing that. Competition is wonderful. And if it's our customers that are, really getting out there and competing in that way, great. That drives us. And maybe we say, you know what? You guys have all solved this part of it. You're struggling with this other small nuance though. Let's solve that for you and let's empower you. And so I think we are going to approach it from a empowering perspective, right? We want you to be empowered to do your own thing.
So you really will have a kind of consultancy role in the future because you're so immersed in the software and application world that even if certain things are being done by customers independently, they're still going to need guidance.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, the reason I got into software when I was 14 was because I saw how we had a family friend owned a software company. When they took me there, I watched this lady print out an invoice. I watched the dot matrix printer turn. I was counting the time on my watch. It printed out. She picked it up. She walked, a minute over to Sarah's desk, dropped it into Sarah's inbox. Sarah picked it up and she started typing the numbers into her screen. And my brain was just like, oh my goodness, we can make that all digital. That never needs to get printed out and then re-input back in. And in fact, you never even need to think about that process. And so we are here to solve problems and to make people's lives easier. And so that if we focus on that, I think you can't really go wrong there, right? It means you may be focusing on solving different problems. And that's something that we're excited about.
Just give us a hint of some of the practical things you're looking at. What's on the horizon AI wise from Point of Rental?
Yeah, so we are very interested in helping. I think one of the areas where a lot of customers would love to see us get involved with is analytics. Like, what do I do next? We have millions of reports, tons of points of data. And while reports are fun to read and necessary to read, it's going to be really nice if we can just spit out some actual insights and say, hey, and I was talking to some customers recently about this, and they're like, oh, well, what happens if it gets it wrong? I'm like, if we had AI that analyzed some of your data and said, you know what, you really ought to sell your forklifts because they're not utilized very often and they don't tend to, produce a big return. Your excavators, on the other hand, you've got almost full-time utilization, which means you probably need more of them. So if it gave you that feedback, and that's not something you were aware of, would you just go sell all your forklifts and buy more excavators? No, you would know exactly which data to dig into. You'd go pull a report on your forklifts. You'd go pull a report on your excavators and do that research. But at least you'd be doing the right research, right? And I think that's where it's going to save that time, because you're not hunting in the haystack anymore.
Yeah. When might we see something like that from you in a concrete way?
You're asking when we'll see that in a concrete way?
Yeah.
That is a 2026 problem that we are actively working on solving. So
okay.
I will
All right.
leave it at that.
Watch this space. Hey, look, just a final thing, Matt. Just in your own personal business world, your working environment, are there any cool things that you're using AI for that you've discovered recently? Anything you could recommend?
Oh yeah. So being a bit of a nerd, right? I've always been fascinated with the Marvel movies and Iron Man. If you've ever seen Iron Man and his talking assistant Jarvis, I mean, who doesn't want that? So this is one that everybody can take home and use right now. This is it's about a paragraph's worth of prompt, and you would say something to the effect of, I want you to keep a to-do list for me. I want you to constantly reprioritize it. I want you to add, modify, delete, split, merge, whatever you need to do to make this to-do list, solid. Sometimes I'm just going to be giving you more information. You may need to add it to one or more to-do items. Sometimes you may need to reprioritize them, something to that effect. I've done that personally, just putting that into pick your LLM, ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini, throw that prompt in there, and then at the very end of it say, and only output the to-do list. Every time I say something, all you're going to do is update the to-do list and respit it out. And so now you've got this ongoing chat. And anytime something comes in that you want to keep track of, you just spit it in there. And it has been amazing for me. And so, of course, being a nerd, I'm now trying to build this into software so I can just push a button on my keyboard, speak into, talk into the microphone, and it automatically does this without having to switch screens. But hey, if you're just switching screens to type, it's still 90% of the value. So
yeah, that sounds interesting and useful. I'm going to try it myself. Hey, Matt, I also want to salute your bravery in wearing a Liverpool FC cap today. There's no way you're going to get any orders from anyone in certain cities in the UK from now on. You do realize that?
Yeah, I'm the ignorant American. I just happened to pick them accidentally. No, look, the important takeaway here is that you've got an American that loves football and that refers to soccer as football. So
yeah, we'll take that. Hey, look, Matt, nice to chat to you. Thanks for your time.